Hello there folks and welcome back to Hornykai Infarct, especially online though, I mean on stream. But I heard there is an event with, well, Rita and obviously Hua, which are my favorite characters. And also I came across Tesla, which also is a character whom I like, more like a love-hate relationship. Kind of reminds a bit too much of me, but Mr. Detective. Federica Nicola Tesla, staff member of Lab 42 of Schicksal Imperial Institute. I wanted to say welcome to Saint Fontaine, but as you can see here, the city is really not of a suitable place. At least it does look somewhat, although the building behind and these ones here definitely don't look too much affected when it comes to a city that's, overwhelmed with beasts and such, but I doubt many people look at so many details. I've been meaning to ask what's with those Honkai beasts that we just met. As far as I know, this should be a safe zone under the protection of Mugen trophy system. How did they break in? Not a good place for conversation. Let's get in the car. I'll take you to the manor. Oh, that's it? Ah, that's a prelude. Okay. When it's called a prelude, then with your favorite characters, alright. Oh my gosh. Is this a detective story maybe? With many with many unanswered questions, we got into Dr. Tesla's cars. The road is clear. There's only a few monsters wandering around. Soon after, a building resembling a church, looks like the judicial building in one of the towns close to me. Huh? I'm not sure what that prompt was, but okay. Sound of braking, the car stopped in front of an iron gate. Ah, the Wealth Manor. Serves as the residence of us researchers, so it was designed to be comfy during the reconstruction. This manor used to be a Schicksal church. Unfortunately, that cataclysm... Wait. How do I... Ah, yes, that cataclysm which happened 5 years ago. Okay, we left the car in silence and passed through the courtyard in front of the main building. Alright. Rosemary. And obviously that's her name. When I first arrived here 5 years ago, we found a clump of rosemary with violet blooms in the desolate ruins. Welt considered it a little miracle of life, so he had someone prepare a flower bed and transplant the rosemary clump. Ah, maybe. They've been taken good care of here, so gradually this kind of plant has grown all over the courtyard. We soon reached the opulent gate of the main building. The electronic security devices in front somewhat diminish its magnificence though. Wait. The brain went silent. Both out and in game. Tesla took off her glasses to scan the iris. I authenticated her fingerprint and entered the password. Oh, Nicola without the glasses, that would be something. The gigantic gate opened almost soundlessly. Someone is already waiting inside. Oh, Einstein, I remember her. Basically, this game is all about girls. You're 1 hour late, Dr. Tesla. I knew I was making a bad decision when I asked you to pick up our guest. Nothing wrong with my driving skills. Stop pinning everything on it. I can attest to Frederica's defense. Her driving was steady and smooth. But the girl who was addressed as Moth had ignored Dr. Tesla. Okay, so that's definitely a girl. I kind of knew that, but she's not too convincing with that hair though. She turned to us with a poker face. Dr. Conan Doyle. I'm guessing Conan Doyle is the player. Liser Alberto Einstein. Delighted to finally meet you. And obviously we can see enchanting Fupa and obviously her dull expression, which kind of reminds me a bit too painfully much of me. It's been a while. Have you been picking on Frederica lately? Eh? Fail to perceive it as usual. Seeing Tesla's puzzled look, Irene and Dr. Einstein exchanged a knowing smile. Wait, what was that sound? Was it in game or? Seems that Irene Adler is indeed close to the owner of this place. Now that we've all exchanged greetings, we should get down to business. I wouldn't be surprised if I meet Otto sooner or later. And countless monsters are probably approaching this building as I speak. I was attacked by them on my way to the train station. Security system malfunctioning, or could it be an act of sabotage? The system has 3 pivot nodes. Unless they all fail at the same time, it's impossible for Honkai beasts to enter the safe zone. Well, you never know for sure though. Even the greatest devices can fail you at the right time. Okay, let me see. Wait, what am I doing? Okay. Now what's gonna happen? We've been giving the system regular maintenance. As for the possibility of sabotage, the nodes can withstand attacks of Honkai beasts below Emperor class. I don't think it's possible that 3 Emperor class Honkai beasts happen to attack the nodes at the same time. You never know. We had never seen supernatural monsters suspected of having intelligence. Phantom. Alright, so we're gonna hunt something. Now we'll investigate the cause of the safety system malfunction ourselves later. Wait, ourselves? Dr. Tesla and I, okay. Please rest assured that the man's defense system is sufficient to ensure everyone's safety. I assume that you have some important questions. Unexpected incidents and news. Took out the baffling invitation letter from my pocket again. I can't wait to meet Mr. Joyce and ask him how I could help him. Might be my illusion, but it's glitter of unease. Okay. Afraid it won't happen. Dr. Einstein's voice remained emotionless, but her words turned to be shocking. Welt Joyce. Wait, is this... I think this is the son of Welt Young? I'm not sure. The owner of this place. Or the father. I'm not sure. He's dead. Oh, that's it? No fight? If this is gonna be that kind of event... Why am I walking? What was that? Okay, so it's the same quote from previously, but her words turned to be shocking. Everyone seems to be brooding over the grievous news. Grievous wounds. Have too much League of Legends. Then who invited us? You don't seem to be surprised. To be honest, I'm not. Though the handwriting appears to be messy, it couldn't have been written by a male. Wait, what? Could have or couldn't have? Couldn't have. You're right. I know a lot of male friends, even some of mine who write messily. It was written by one of our scientists, am I right? Irene Adler answered her question with a faint smile. Glanced meaningfully at this woman. She is doubtlessly a master of messing with people's mind. Well, obviously, and her enchanting attitude also helps a lot. So it's true. Before I heard the news of Mr. Joyce's death, I had presumed that he was in some kind of unavailable situation. Well, if he's dead, obviously he's unavailable, but alright, I guess no joke, Sherlock. Oh, so he actually got murdered. So I think it might be a message left. I deliberately remained silent for a while to observe the looks on her and Dr. Tesla's faces. But you two seem to be reacting to this brutal fact very lightly. If we weren't in such helpless situation, we wouldn't have to turn to a suspicious outsider like you. Oh, how much I wish there were an event in which you actually get to beat her butt. Okay, but obviously she would bring all sorts of machines, reminding me of that stupidly painful Guild Wars 2 event with that stupid lab rat and her idiot robot, and she only upgraded that stupid robot when you actually had to face it. Up till then it was completely useless. Not only was that lab rat given 2 or 3 chapters, but you simply couldn't skip most of the text. Okay. Is there any sound in the game anymore, or all cast glances at us as we walked in, while the meanings of their glances are only known to themselves? Ah, it's the girl from the previous events, the one with Chuara. Although I think she's a robot, partly. Oh, and speaking of Chuara, Jackal. I don't remember who this creature is. Is it Velt Young's child? Or Velt whatever the name? I didn't care much about the story, but I really liked Fuhua's. Fuhua gave a stern look. That's almost pleonastic. Yes, Jackal, I remember her from the Senti episode, and the one in a cloak is Raven, or Shuara, because she also has the name Shuara. I mean, Raven in Romanian is translated as Chuara, so I don't know why they gave her that name. They are the young lady's tutor and bodyguard. This disdainful tone aroused my curiosity. Well, her looks can arouse some people's interest as well. So these two people have some wrongdoings. Folded her arms. Well, she doesn't do it in the animation, seeming a little regretful for getting involved in the topic. This meant that they are technically not our colleagues. Though Jackal is also a researcher, she has only had a cooperative relationship with the Institute. As for Raven, I've heard she used to be a mercenary, which is the only thing I know about her. Nothing suspicious in the content of Einstein's explanation, but her behavior of covering up her Tesla suggests there is holding something. Whispered to me without looking at me. To explain is an attempt to cover something up. I think we need to investigate Jackal and Raven thoroughly. Conversation with these two scientists continued. She won't tell us unless we ask, which we'd never bother to. Ah, Sora, I remember the girl. Wait a minute. I remember the name, but was it the one in the roost? That chapter? I kind of remember it a bit. Alright. And I noticed that a small figure who is the last stranger in the hall silently walked to Einstein. Jeffrey. Ah, okay. Ah, Joyce, you can call him Joyce. Ah, I remember him from the train. Was it in the train? In Post Honkai Odyssey 1, I think? Or 2? Mm-hmm. 2 legal heirs? Mm-hmm. Alright. Can I actually... Ah, so there's still actually some sound. Why am I moving so slowly? This is much nuttier than I expected. And with all the cuddly girls around, it could get even, well, nuttier, if you know what I mean. But we only need to investigate the murder. The rest is none of our business. So this is indeed a detective-like story there. Then, seem quite confident when you claim to be one of us. I wouldn't cross you off of my suspect list. Bosom friends, huh? Turns out it's just me being naively silly. I warn myself that emotional qualities are antagonistic to clear reasoning. I think they're both... they're worth some of my time. Oh, ménage à trois, alright. Can I actually talk to Sora or... Wait, that's... Trying to have a friendly chat to kill time in such bad weather. Though I've been taking medicine, I'm still not cured. Wait, it's not the robot, the other one. I think she was from the roost, she was saved. I don't remember exactly. It was something with the robot girl that was saved. They told me that Mr. Joyce, the owner of this place, knows how to cure me. Passed away, so we have some sense of politeness. Sensei told me Mr. Joyce left his research data. Talk about something else then. Do you know that woman over there? I think Sensei knows her. To make amends. Raven came back without a word, but reticence is telling me that the conversation is over. And I'm guessing they're set to saying that. Alright, let me see. The awesome detective, oh, starting with the great words, huh? It's a great privilege to meet you. A big fan, okay. Not Holmes. You want us here? Was that a sexual pun or... Alright, I'll give them credit for that. Here to offer my condolences, obviously. And here just to see if she's really dead. I think the doctors would joke about it. Besides, haven't you already checked Mr. Joyce's body before we arrived? Raised him from the dead, he's a rotting corpse now. Something else, and I heard you and Miss Raven have known each other for long. I think that means the conversation has ended. Oh, so long conversations. Interacting with people is fun. Does this seem like a real-life simulation? Wait. Alright, okay, even... oh, you know what? No. Einstein's boring. On the second floor? Oh my gosh, if you tell me that I... oh, okay, there's a lift. And there's Fuha over there. Why did I read massage? But okay. Okay. More like unreliable snoopers. For no reason. I'm with her on this map. I have nothing to tell you. Okay, those two characters definitely are pissed one of the other. But it's Tesla after all. Wouldn't be pissed by her presence. Haven't seen each other for long. Should make the most of our time together to see, I mean, bond with it. Tease. Alright. I've been very popular in recent years. The most well-known one. The regularity of its appearance, and she suspected that it had a certain level of intelligence. But there's still one thing that I don't understand. To dread talking about this phantom. And resorted to the lame excuse, scientists shouldn't talk about the supernatural without evidence. Well, that's basically a scientific way of saying, you know, stupid scientists' way of saying, if I can't understand it, it's not real. Don't you ever feel strange that this place has very few staff members? Including Velt, his assistant Joachim, Mothead and me. An elite Valkyrie squad has been dispatched by the Schicksal Imperial Institute to monitor and assist us. On a mission and lost contact ever since. They could be some nice suspects. Or to call them suspects. Okay. What was the mission about? Capture the Phantom based on the location conjectured by Mothead. For a while. Train station again to pick them up and check the nearest pivot node along the way. The bodyguard and please to go visit. Oh, ain't that cute. Why is it that the game seems to flirt with a possible something in between these two girls? I mean, Rita is definitely the one who likes, I mean, this one especially seems to like teasing everyone. I'm not speaking necessarily in a sexual way, but given how horny this game is, and it's also called Hornykai, I wouldn't be surprised. Dr. Einstein is waiting for us on the second floor, okay. He's actually overprotective, which I find surprisingly charming. Oh, good thing I don't have to walk till there. Those aren't... So it's 2 layers of clouds. Those aren't the most realistic clouds I've ever seen, but alright. It's the outside though. Those open doors, I mean cracked open doors. The room should be the third on the right. Well, 1, 2, 3. There's another room over there. I came. There's a partner. Well, the sound seems interesting a bit. It feels a bit of a tangle. I've got a few sounds in RPG Maker, similar to this one. Wait. Eh. Owl. Oh wait, they actually have some binds. I didn't. Wait, I finished Manor. Oh, okay, I need to do this one. The sudden darkness fell. Made the darkness was a cemetery specially prepared for her. Eh? All light reflecting off the deadly steel was. Ah, okay, so that's basically a steel. Okay. Characters apparently facing the wind. Facing the window? Yeah, based on the bent leg and the facing. A cold light reflecting off the deadly steel was like a merciless notice. Broke free from her soft flesh and spurted into the air. She didn't even feel the pain in the first few seconds. Usually it never feels like that. I mean, yes, you never feel the pain and afterwards you kind of start to when you come back a bit to life from the shock. The blood under her body formed a patch that looked like a carpet in bad taste. Is Jackal killed? Mm-hmm. Who could have been trying to kill me? The furthest her level-headed thinking went. It was her death? Eh? Up who held into Jackal's throat and interrupted her, though her voice was already so weak that no one could hear her. Her death smiled cruelly. The sound of footsteps approached. Her death bent down over her. Grey Serpent? Wasn't he killed? She bitterly uttered her last two words and closed. Ah, wait, he had more copies, I think. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Ooh, rumbled. The death disappeared in the dark. A soul faced its final curtain. Oh, okay, so some of them are pretty swift. Second I entered this room, I smelled a pleasant fragrance. Everything here is neat and tidy except two alarming pools of blood on the floor. Perplexedly and met her puzzled eyes. Apparently she has noticed it too. Deceptive then an obvious act. Before I hear the facts from you, I'd like to see the scene with my own eyes first. Yes, obviously, so that you don't get used to the details being told to you, and then you kind of keep yourself from seeing newer things. You become tunneled on everything you hear. Stein nodded and soundlessly stepped aside. So basically, okay, so now I can actually play as the... But there's definitely not a lot of clues around here. Slightly splashed with blood, the other is splashed with blood. The other is near the window. Could the blood stain near the window be left by Joyce when he struggled to move after being attacked? And there should be a trail of blood between the two blood stains if that's the case. Or left by two different persons. Well, the room is impeccably tidy for a murder scene. Usually there should be a lot of struggle. Two exits. I avoided the bloodstain on the floor while walking to the window. A few muddy footprints are clearly evident on the carefully polished wooden windowsill. Ah, okay, that's basically how it's called, a sill. More, the footprints form two sets of traces of the same person walking in and out. Okay. One puzzle solved. The murderer came in from window, attacked Joyce, and then left through the window. I am not a third-rate detective. This is obviously a sloppy misdirection that tries too hard. Basically you can't see anything. Typical visual novel aspect. Only the text to induce the things in your mind, but nothing visibly there. Various documents in the drawer of Joyce's desk. I leafed through all of them. They are mostly research logs or drafts about Honkai energy research. Hidden clues in the words and formulas using common decoding techniques, but nothing found. Then a draft written in massive handwriting caught my attention. It's mostly research-related drawings and calculations, but there are some strange words scribbled. It seemed to be written down absent-mindedly. Been going on for a month. I think it's time to rule out mental fatigue. The psychiatrist can't figure out why either. Keep having the same dream. Why do I keep seeing that girl, and why is she always so mournful? Some researchers have reported similar experiences too. It's not because I'm insane. So the investigation finally started to pay off. Maybe soon. Probably that's when the murderer came in. Wait, this thing... Oh, okay, so it doesn't have something through the wall. Doesn't have the form through the wall, because that could have been another possibility for a murderer to come in. Well, unless it was open. I walked to the fireplace and found a pair of boots hidden within. The sole pattern matches the footprints on the sill. So obviously... Wait, why is she looking more to the left than her body is? Alright. If you can't even figure out this, then I won't trust that unreliable snooper. This for Rita. Ah, alright. So someone already messed with... Wait, what? On the shoulder of a boy in a velvet chair who closely resembles him. There's something about it that looks a bit unnatural. The big soft chair seems to be propping him up. He looks much less alive, even compared to his timid look in the hall just now. Maybe a forgery? Wait, is it really 3D outside? Gives me an impression that it's all 2D. No, it's a carton layer, it's a 2D layer. If you look at the base of the windows, it's obviously a 2D layer. Alright, let me see. Knocked on the door, but there was no response. No response. Not many times. Dr. Tesla even swore at him loudly. He couldn't be that focused. Obviously. Hierarchical system. Your institute is quite free. Wait, she was still talking, but there was the narrator voice. Alright. Probably she's programmed. Probably the characters are programmed to move their lips a few times, even if the player skips through the text. And we heard a voice coming from the room. He was on the phone with someone, so he decided to come back later. The thump that came from his room. Immediately went upstairs and opened the door, then he saw Velt. He was lying in a pool of blood right there. So probably that's when the murder occurred. There was a deep wound on his back, which seemed to be caused by a sharp object such as a dagger. Was in the room, just not on Welt's back. Okay, Welt, I think, as it means the world in German. For the first time, Einstein's eyes are filled with confusion and fear. In Welt's room, there was another wounded man lying on the floor. Oh, really? The other major blood stain. Okay. It might be the one that killed Welt was sticking in the man's back. The second eye, confused. Who is that man? Is he the murderer? Maybe the one whom Mr. Joyce was talking to. He was in the room and was also hurt in the murder, perhaps. No, but we only heard Welt's voice outside the door, which was why we thought he was making a phone call. It was a situation of urgency. Before he moved Welt downstairs for first aid, checked on the other man. It was Grey Serpent. Ah, okay. Notorious intel dealer, but he seemed to have good business reputation in the underworld. Ah, so I'm guessing at this stage he didn't. I remember well, Rita actually worked with him or was somewhat related. They knew themselves better, but not in this, not this version of Rita. Have good business reputation. Had no time to attend to Grey Serpent then. We left the room in a hurry to treat Welt, but he didn't make it. About Grey Serpent. That's the most perplexing part. When we went back to the room, Grey Serpent was already gone. Yes, the size of the bloodstains suggested Grey Serpent was severely injured, but he didn't see anyone come down from the second floor. The only possible explanation would be that he jumped out of the window, as there was no footprint on the sill. Dr. Tesla arranged that test, probably because she found it inexplicable too. Doesn't really make sense. Grey Serpent's physical condition shouldn't have allowed him to do that. But he's partly robot, so it doesn't matter. Everyone became lost in thought. After a while I broke the silence. This case is naughtier than I expected. Who might be the murderer could still be lurking in the neighborhood. If that's true, I think we should go back to the hall and gather everyone. Serve to know what is happening. The entire building fell into absolute darkness. Have a power blackout. Worry the mansion has a backup power system which will auto-activate when the power. And obviously, I was expecting that. Building systems break down together today. Well, obviously, because someone mingled with them. Don't feel good about this. It can be entirely coincidental. Oh my gosh, that voice was so loud. Someone might say I was listening to hentai or something. It's that little girl named Sora. Okay, damn it, did it come from the first floor? I'm actually running, oh wait. Oh, are we going to fight? Oh my gosh, she's such a boring character to fight. Apprehend Riven. What is up with him? Obviously dash. Oh, people are fighting on what's that? Hey, get rest. Cutscene. Ah, hey, baby Bronya, what the heck? Oh, Wild Young. Baby Bronya. Father's matters. Father. Ah, the adopted daughter. I didn't know she had. Ah, Joachim. I think he's also a Hersher. He's like Veld Joyce or Veld Young. I don't know what's the difference in between Veld Young and Veld Joyce, but okay. And actually Veld, I didn't know he adopted Bronya, but Veld Young or whoever, the Hersher who managed to make full use of the Hersher of Reason score, I think he was the one who gave it to Bronya and taught her how to make use of her powers, or something in the lines of that. Don't remember that much. I have smelled the pleasant smell when near him. You can tell he's a conscientious man, but for some reason he seemed aloof. He came back, the gate was open and it was dark in the building, so Dr. Tesla went to repair the electricity. Someone took Sora away, they must have left via the gate. Just before I even finished talking, it was Raven who just made haste to walk to the gate. Oh, I want another fight. Obviously, if I can beat your ass, why not try it again? I can do it anytime. If I were to take away a child, I'd choose to hide in this building for now rather than running in a heavy rain. I have convinced Raven. Time ever since I met her, she looked so vulnerable. She face down on the floor in the far corner of the hall with a dagger deeply sticking in her back. Rush. All right. Okay. Including Ravens and gathered around Jack. Wait. Including Raven, okay. She's really dead, okay. So she's not pretending, okay. Wait, she had the knife in her bag, but where is the knife? Knife was missing. 404 not found. How did this happen? Everyone went pale. Bronya turned her face and blah blah blah. I have serial killings. Ominous words. We updated her on the development. Also came down to the first floor. There was an unexplained blackout. People downstairs were Jackal, Raven, Sora, and a glanced look, I guess, Joy, standing between Einstein and Tesla. His clothes have been rumpled by a Raven in the melee. Now his head lolls as if he hasn't recovered from the shock. A few seconds after the blackout, We heard Sora scream. The saddler and I then came downstairs, started to fight Raven, who thought we kid. Okay. She thought we kidnapped Sora. His Brony arrived. Hua joined the fight. Moments later, Dr. Tesla fixed the power system. I think this is one of those things where I think the killer is one of the people in here, or they are well concealed somewhere, and they cause little troubles to cause disarray, and then in the disarray they claim their next victim. I've seen this kind of serial murder like things. Curious how this will end up. La la la. He would be the prime suspect, but I would think he's not the one, because if he were truly injured, he wouldn't be lurking around if they'd be injured. But at the same time, if someone would think better, if they were injured, they wouldn't be around. But at the same time, I don't think he would be that injured, because he'd be partly robot, I think. I think he had implants or mechanized aspects to him, as far as I remember. Time lag between when Sora screamed and when the blackout occurred was only about 10 seconds. Must be more than one perpetrator, because it takes much longer to get from the electrical room to the hall. Wait a bit, it takes much longer to get from the electrical room to the hall. Could have been done by just one person. Check the cause of the blackout. It was a simple timing device. It's sloppy craftsmanship, but it actually worked. Okay, so they timed it. Okay, so the killer is not just some kind of brain-dead killer. It's also someone who thinks. Okay, now that's a bit intimidating. It was a simple timing device. Okay. See, it was anyone talking to Jackal when the blackout occurred? That was a moment of silence. Then, to my surprise, someone unexpected did something unexpected. Who had always been silent suddenly raised his arm and pointed straight at Raven. Was talking to Jackal when the blackout occurred. Went to look at Raven. Was talking to her, so what? Someone flashed by during the blackout. Must be the murderer, who probably also kidnapped Sora. I think you might be the one who killed Jackal, and the motive could be a dispute over your shares of the spoils. Telling the truth. Also felt someone flashed by while I was talking to Sora when Sora started to scream. And then she was gone. All these ninja things, like someone flashed by. It's kind of hard to understand how someone can flash by and you simply don't hear anything. I mean, never experienced as such, but still, running means that you move fast, your clothes do noise, your stepping should do noise, unless, I don't know, they have some perfect camouflage or something. But if you have some perfect camouflage, why would you need to turn off the lights? Just so that people don't see where you come and where you go, because if you grab someone, you may not be seeable, but at the same time they can see where you're taking the other person. Or you might use some paralyzing mechanic and you can conceal the other person with such a device and teleport away or something. But flashing by means they moved at a high speed, so alright, let's see where this thing's going. The next moment Raven came and seized me. I raised an eyebrow at Joey, who became chatty all of a sudden. There's something about this boy that is enigmatically paradoxical. Who are you and what did you do with this boy, alien? Raven's and Joey's testimonies suggest the murderer isn't one of the guests, and was it really Grey Serpent? I was lost in thought. Well, obviously for something in the past, but something that doesn't have to do anything with the, these events. I mean, Jackal has a very obscure past, and Grey Serpent even more. But the Jormungandr or the World Serpent definitely have their ways of knowing things. So usually when Grey Serpent would end up killing someone, that's definitely not without reasons. I wouldn't be surprised if the perpetrator would be the protagonist themselves. That I had already woken up. Wait, what? Wait, what? Ah, okay. She looks misty and translucent like a spectre. Hey, look who it is, if it ain't Little Soul. Well, Seele, if I remember, means soul, I think, in German. Even though I can't see the girl clearly, I still genuinely feel her pain. Rose is dead, is blue. Wait, what? But I do like this background noise. I remember it's more like noise, not necessarily a song, but I can feel her will just went through radical changes all of a sudden. No longer calls for help, instead she has become gloomy and resentful. Is it the dark Seele now? Sudden feels hostility sends shivers down my spine. I try to resist the girl's attack while my body is still immobile. Shrill. Angry. Wait, what does shrill mean? Because I forgot. No, shrill. High pitched and piercing. Okay. You see that you don't want to give in, but you are after the wrong prey this time, silly. Oh, Sele's got a brand new move. I'm saying this is not the real Sele. A while ago, Sele gave her body, like, gave Darcy the full control of herself. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Darcy as well. Is the character doing anything when I have like that voice. Someone patted me on the shoulder, which pulled me back to reality. Wait, what? And so was Hua Rita. Oh, that time had hardly passed. What was that experience I just had? Smile flickered on Irene's face. Reminded me of something. Idol. Wait a bit, I'm gonna go take a piss and I'm gonna be back in approximately 90 seconds. I think 1 minute and 7 seconds or something. I'm not sure exactly. Okay, let's see. Okay. Letter to Bronya. Dear Bronya. No, I just wrote another letter 2 days ago, but I have so many things I want to share with you. The leftover ground beef wasn't enough to make patties, so I made meatballs instead. Wait, what's a patty? Patty. But small flat cake of minced or finely chopped food, especially meat. Wait, a cake made out of meat? No, thanks. I think I'll puke. I think it's because I didn't add rosemary, but Joey still ate them. Tomatoes sachets with the rosemary. I haven't been able to sleep for days, and Joey's been having nightmares. Side effects of the increased dosage. The sachet, I think, made me. What's this eerie smell? Bleh. Awkward smells coming from outside. The book is right, the scent of rosemary is soothing. How interesting that when I was reading about rosemary, disgusting smell came from outside. Or it could be because the smell of the sachet reminded me of you, my dear Bronya. Okay. As if you are still here with me. But I'm worried the sachet might not be helpful for long. I'll probably have to ask Dr. Jekyll for some sleeping pills. It's easier to just take pills, although you have been telling me lately to take as little medicine as possible. And we take more medicine to counteract the side effects. Yeah, well, that's kind of true. Just to question it, so is it really treatment or some kind of vicious circle? Risk is we are ill and we can get free treatment here. So everything should get treatment when they are ill. Oh wait, everyone. Wait. Give me some fighting though, like. I do like the detective part, but if I really have to read through all of these, no thanks. Okay, wait, Owl. This is an actual character in the game. Ooh, actually using Hua. What? Okay, skip, thank you. I'm actually running. Wait, is this Hawk of the Fog? I mean, Accipiter or... Wait, Jacko? Hey, they actually have a bit of Asian song. Wait, I'm playing as Hua. Is this actually gone through? I mean, you go through this story through the eyes of each character, more or less? Okay. Give me some fighting if there is. That's using the voice trailer. Use a special skill to scan the scene and find the traces covered by the rain with Dr. Tesla's help. Wait. Yep, please die, thank you. Really now? Oh wait, I forgot it. Yes, I struck the air. Wait, needed the... This is basically where it started. We were actually looking for these. Really not. Godly God! No! Auto targeting. Really now? I wasn't in range. Alright. He's still sweet. Easy. Oh, I like Hua. What's this bird doing here? What's this Pokemon doing here? Since the rain already made it hard to restore the image, and now with the interference of Honkai Beast remains, so we lost them, I'm afraid so. Just when we started to feel helpless, I caught a glimpse of a surreal glow. It looks like a bird soundlessly flapping its... soundlessly. Okay, so it's not about the character named Owl. Wait a bit. I could interrupt this here. Can you please stop being a bitch and piss me off? As you always do, stupid character. No thanks, I'm not interested, thank you. Stupid Chinese behavior, if you don't do it, you're forced to do it. Okay. Alright, no, I'm not interested in this. It'd be sad if I don't use just a bit of this stamina first. I'm gonna claim those a bit later. Wait. Case records? Okay, Phantom, let's see. Am I gonna encounter the so-called Phantom? Yes. 雑魚ですね。Obviously I get pushed back when I want to pass my combo. Easy. Should have set for attack animation. Wait, I can actually walk sideways now. My gosh, my sensitivity is so big. Where's the laggy? Okay. That was a sweet animation change. You're bugging the system that resulted in a few Honkai Beasts accidentally. There are so many Honkai Beasts, the security system must have stopped working for some reason. To rule out the unproven possibility of an echo, the Phantom, it is most likely to be a human sabotage. As true, then there aren't many suspects. As before you and your partner arrive, there are already Honkai beasts in the safe zone. Back then, only the lab members and Jackal's crew were in the city. Raven used to be a mercenary, so it is possible that she possesses some means to destroy the previous now. She is with a child, breaking the security system is neither convenient nor advantageous to her. Suspect is Jackal, though she has a bad reputation, she is indeed one of the best minds. Here it starts to make no sense. Though I am almost certain that Jackal is trying to use Bronya to get to its legacy, I can't figure out the connection between these two. Alright, let's go back to stomping stuff. Jackal. Wait, is that Bronya? Oh no, boy, boy. Little Bronya. Obviously someone's actually thinking, and usually that's good. I just now made me realize the little bird coming for this monster. Well, that also took me a while to realize. The monsters can recover from the sudden shock and turn to prisoners. Or the Phantom. I think that's Dark. What was that? His name? Dimension Breaker? I don't know Bronya. So if it's a defeat. All right. Can you walk much this food? Master.
ブローニャ了解しました。
Really? I didn't have to I'm They're attacking the president or what the heck are they saying? No, the auto targeting is so horrible. They don't seem to be... Ah, so that's what it does. Ah, wait, I always forgot these stupid behavior to move away from the player. pain. Really? Come on, I pressed it again like pain. So I get dedicated just like in Dead by Daylight, and obviously I missed. No. I have Bronya Synth as well. No, you are focusing me. I like the battlefield she does. No. Bronya, can you move? And she's frozen, yes. She's frozen. Okay, fucker, yes. I won't him. Huh? Huh? Okay. They would not dare hurt a man because they are so rare in this game. Glimmer of humanity in its eyes. Okay. Stagger back, howling in confusion. Wait a bit, but Joachim was also a Herrscher in a way, if I remember correctly. And usually Honkai beasts wouldn't hurt a Herrscher or something. Without a mournful cry, as if it's just thought of something and vanishing with it. Wait, I promised her. Embraced each other, celebrating their survival. And then disappeared, the rest of the Honkai beasts scattered and fled, as if they'd lost their king. And finally take a breath. Oh well, Hua took a beating. Finally I did beat something. Ah, playing Hua is such a complex character. Okay, I can open this now. Oh my gosh, but there's... What does this picture look like? It's a different hair. Is this the Hua Rita? Wouldn't be surprised if she's actually the murderer, but it's alright. Okay, missing. That's like my sanity. That I'm still playing this game. Okay, you know what? Ooh. And look at the fucker above. Where's the popcorn, nice guy? Really now? Pay attention to the combos. I got good. I know this is good enough. This people has so much damage. Rush. Ah, so that's the writing that was placed there. Okay, they said something about the writing at the beginning and that it's written in a messy way and it couldn't have been written by a male. But she wouldn't. Wait. Let me think of something. If you think about the name reversely, you don't get anything. Alright. Must be the murderer who wrote this. Obviously it's not a name or like a code name or something. Gosh. Ah. Wait, actually. Ah. Wait. If it's in German, then it's Rache. Means revenge. Rituality. I would suspect Rita of doing this, although she's too interested in cleaning up after her to actually be of importance. So it can't be her. She's too interested in cleaning up, well, both the target and after that. Doctor seemed to have sort of something. He started placing an arm on himself. Damage Jackal's body, there's a deep dagger wound on her back. Now this fatal injury. So basically the killer is someone who's very advanced, who knows how to kill in one precise shot. I mean, many killers would do sloppy murders with lots of hits, and that usually leads to a lot of blood, a lot of mess, a lot of struggle. If you hit certain specific nerves in the body, you only need one shot, and usually the target is immobilized and or will probably die of asphyxiation or something like that. Usually a heart shot, or usually strikes at the upper side of the spine to simply sever the respiratory part. Speaking about the spine, I need to keep my spine in more comfortable positions. I would say splitting up is a bad idea, especially against such a good assassin as this one. Ah, so now I'm playing as Hua, okay, I always forget. Okay, so Raven got missing now. Alright. Alright, Scooby-Doo and the gang, let's see. Everything's done here? Okay. I like how they are bound with things that look like spider webs. Cold rain was still falling in the deserted city. Ooh, a blaze. Wait. Is this Raven? The blurred outline of the dark cloud. Dull rumble of thunder and rain. Dark alley figures stood in the thunderstorm. Discover E. Black with his face hidden in an really white mask. Ah, I think this is the... Huh? Wait, a metallic protection. I think this is the... The cold rain seemed to be running away from him. Suddenly another cold light expelled the dimness, but it was not lightning. It was sharp as a weapon. Like stroking his lover's hand. The serpent, grey serpent, slightly turned his head to face this unusual noise. She was a petrified little girl, her mouth was stuffed with closed lips, so she could only make a muffled... Ah, okay, so he was actually there and he took Sora away. Back and saw the reflection of his blood red eyes in the mirror of white leather. One more, just one left. Procrastinating, he slowly walked toward the child and griping the... Wait. Shouldn't gripping be written with two P's? Alright. Almost complete. Peace of mind is so close. The voice became delighted and sweet. Her was sweet. All her limbs were all firmly tied. The dark figure kept approaching. And I'm guessing Raven pops up at the right time, and I'm guessing I'll be fighting this guy. Well, my guessing reboot. Okay. Star Destroyer. Ah, Black Nucleus. Alright. I'm gonna put Hua first. Which also gives a bonus to Bronya. Not that I'm ever gonna use her. Interested in mechanical engineering, especially the development of the weapon system. That doesn't look like it was caused by Honkai Beast, rather it looks like large models to be precise. Gotta be more careful from now on. My conjecture is unfortunately correct and we are in good trouble. It's your time to shine now.
少し休みますか？
少し休みますか？少し休みますか？ Wait, that's a question because it has no.
静かにしてください。
No? Can you take out one?
みんなと一緒に戦う感覚嫌いではありません。ファイヤー目標補足。ファイヤー位置につきました。
No! Why is auto targeting so horrible?
みんなと一緒に戦う感覚嫌いではありません。
Can you please charge it one? Thank you. Let me take this. I guess the work is done already. Yeah, that's it. Seems so lucky this time no annoying Honkai Beast anymore. the security system failed, we have encountered scores of Hornykai Infarct. This area is really secure, which I don't consider to be normal. Obviously it's a trap. The figure has not to rebuild the security system. Even if this area is injured, we have to go across it. And that's what I call a strong personality, I guess. Unwavering. Wait, actually, what's this? Easy. Flash bomb. Alright. Do I doubt? Hey, that's Raven. Do I doubt someone would hold an axe? Huh? Hmm? Agony of suffocation even exceeded the pain of the wound. Move turned her head to look at the body on the ground near her in the heavy rain. Here's the reason why she ended up like this. This had been his first and struggle, accomplishing missions which would be the only theme of her life. It is that shall can go on a different lifetime. Wait, she did fight him in the end? She did fight Grey Serpent and probably she got mortally wounded? That used to be her strength at will. Footsteps softly approached. Someone was writing something beside. Wait, writing? Robot responding. Ah, so she didn't manage to beat him. Pale lips slowly closed, warm teardrops fell down her cold cheeks. Raven's cries came from afar. Wait, Raven is actually defeated? I'm not sure if she actually dies, but in this expert snoop. What an ingenious nickname. Though they cannot severely hurt us for now, we are indeed outnumbered. When I was talking, there were faint sounds of gunshots and explosions. Wait, firearms? Gunshots? But they do throw projectiles though. Alright. Oh, in fact, she clashed with the Valkyries quite poor. Didn't treat them too kindly. Could be lurking somewhere. No, obviously he's always a problem. Okay, serpents, okay, but after we got to the corner, the horrible view before our eyes was beyond words. Rache. He didn't even bother to close her eyes, like, nah, that's a bit sad though, but alright. That's a bit sad, I can say. Oh, sure, Lord. Freezing blood. All life was gone from her eyes. Scarlet. Wait, someone was messaging me on Discord. Then I noticed something else lying at her feet, another body, huh? Else and caught up to it. That's grey serpent? Wait, what? Believe our own eyes. Was killed two ravens and then skin did this to each other. Even Varian found a fatal knife wound on her neck, cutting her artery wide open. Checked grey serpent and found a similar knife wound, but somehow there was another puncture wound on his back. Main drops kept hitting her eyes, but she didn't do anything. Heard the sound of a long exhalation coming from the transceiver. What the heck's... The Mr. Detective I know always conducts himself with grace no matter what difficulties he faces. Fiction and reality are actually two different things. Ah, that's a thing. Not sure exactly. Why do we really have to talk through this thing. Since Raven's bodies were found and Grey Serpent. Till we managed to carry the two bodies back, everyone got drenched to the skin. Sora is still in a state of stupor, after Einstein put her in a room to rest. It's late at night, we're all exhausted, anxious, and uncomfortably wet. Before planning the next move, what everyone needs is a hot bath, obviously. But before that, I have something to do. I found Dr. Doyle, who is lost in thought alone in the hall. I'd like to talk to you in private, but not in here. As private as possible, and then talk to you later. Filled with hot water, I tried the temperature, slipped out of my bathrobe, and slowly sank into the bathtub. For transitory enjoyment of this small warm paradise, I turned on my transceiver. Casually splashed water in the bathtub. The gentleman on the other end of the line didn't make me wait long. King of Bass. Question with a steamy chuckle. And we started to talk in this unusual atmosphere. What do you want to talk? I'd like to hear your opinion on this case. You must have discovered some clues. Talking about thoughts with others makes it easier to sort them out. There was a short silence. He must be debating whether or not to lay the cards he holds on the table. I thought so with a smirk. I'm not asking to hear your opinion for free. My conjectures may help you too. This is a fair exchange. Regarding this murder, my biggest question is the murderer. I don't think he's among us, but it wouldn't be surprising if it would be her in a way. I mean, Rita has been a hard gun anyways. The reason why you have this question is because of Great Serpent. Yes, according to Raven, Great Serpent knew he was found out by Mr. Joyce, that he has been involved in the human experiments conducted in Saint Fontaine before the cataclysm, so he killed him to seal his lips. Jackal and Raven were also part of this, so Grey Serpent got rid of them too to spare himself any future troubles. The logic behind this assumption seems flawless in terms of why he done it. But if you put more careful thought into it, you will find the paradox. The word written with blood. Well, let me think a bit. We could think a bit about this though before we proceed any further, because ultimately, if it were revenge, it could be a self-driven means of justice? I don't know how to put it, but let's see if I'm correct. Sword appeared at both of the crime scenes. Wait, both? Oh wait, because when the murder against Velt occurred, the word was not written. It wasn't a message left by the victims, then it must be written by the murderer out of some kind of rituality. The situations of the crime scenes obviously agree with the latter assumption. Yes. The murderer has been declaring their motive to all of us by leaving that scarlet word. Grey Serpent was the murderer, then Rache would make no sense. Have completely crossed Grey Serpent off. Can't say that for sure now, but at least the two murderers defy the hypothesis of the murders. Okay, of Grey Serpent being the murderer. What's more, according to the scene of Grey Serpent and Raven's death, neither of them could have written that word on the wall, no matter who died first. So, when we found Raven mortally wounded in that short cutscene, the point is, the question as a viewer would be, was he killed already? Right? I mean, Grey Serpent, was he killed already, right? And the person wielding the dagger felt a bit like Great Serpent, and they also had the red eye, but killing the child, well, the child was still there. If there was no word written on the wall, I would have assumed that they both died after a fierce fight. It's obvious that the murderer never intended to hide. They left the word to flaunt the progress of their revenge. Leave aside the motive, there's something unusual about the wound on Grey Serpent's back. Fatal heart injury, there's no way he could lurk around for days and fight a former mercenary to death. Surprised that he could even move. The degree of decomposition suggests that he's been dead for several days though. Wait a bit, but Grey Serpent has clones of himself. That man had been walking around and committing murders. This just became a ghost story. I know corpses very well, and that's why I started to wonder if I should still treat this case as a normal serial murder. Let's see if I get... okay, I didn't get any more answers. Alright. If logic is no longer with us, I don't know how I should continue my deduction. Slightly adjusted my posture in the bathtub, and the water rippled. Certainly wouldn't believe what I just said. But I believe when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Well, that's quite a point though. What if you look at it from a different angle? Revenge? Who would hate those victims this much? And we must look at the common experiences of the victims. A few hours ago we just heard of a past that involves Jackal, Grey Serpent and Raven. Human experiments on orphans and the cause of the cataclysm. They were all guilty of these, directly or indirectly. Let's assume that for a moment that there's someone who lost everything in a cataclysm but somehow survived, and this person who knows everything about it was a victim of and a witness to the tragedy at the same time. Wait. Would be, maybe. A child has a motive to seek revenge on them, in a way. Remember, Jackal and Raven were invited by Mr. Joachim to help Bronya get her bequeathment, or bequeathment. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. What if the legacy is just a bait from the very beginning? So Jackal coveted Mr. Joyce's research data, while Raven was trying to find cures for Sora. Wait, what is to covet? To refrain from, if I remember? Yes, I remember covet. To covet is to starve. Yearn to possess something, especially something belonging to another. Okay. Raven was trying to find cures for Sora. What Grey Serpent wanted was Jackal's and Raven's lives. See, it was a remarkably efficient bait. Paused for a moment and gave a sudden chuckle. Sounds logical, but you missed one thing, Mr. Detective. Joachim and Bronya both had perfect alibis. They were with us when the murders happened. How done it? This is what has been baffling me. My intuition tells me there's paranormal involvement in this case, which all my learning has been forcing my brain to ignore. The legendary Holmes is just a fictional character after all. See, my deduction didn't score highly. I stood up from the water without making any remarks. The bubbles in my bathtub are running out. I have to go. But cheer up, Doctor. I think you are getting closer to the truth. Wouldn't be surprised if it were her though, but... Elytra in 6 legs. Oh wait, she actually has a movement. What is this Sigma 2 that Mr. Jace has been tracing these days? Sele. Azure Nymph. Alright. Celia could be the monster? Wait, Jackal is that short? Well, I be damned, and I thought that. And I thought that Celia is short. Alright. What did you do to Geoffrey? Kitchen and debugging are almost done. Testing is in order now. But he is just a kid. Keep your researchers cool. He is just a test subject, a means to achieve the end. We fighting over Geoffrey. Why would this name come up here? The shine on the size is so interesting. Okay, can I actually... Wait. Okay, and then there's... Wait, what? Oh, I part and got paid. No reason for me to linger. Do with me. Still the Raven, I know. Hey, the corruption seeping in or what? Say I'm sick and it's bad. Not sick, everything will be fine. And now there's little Branya. With her stern pale face as usual. And the church not even Mr. Yaki. Worry, I'll keep you both safe. Oh, hello there, other me. There once again. This time it became much more realistic. I opened my palms and found two small soft hands, which clearly belonged to the unnamed girl. Had no doubt that what I just saw was something about the tests that took place 5 years ago. Why would this strange memory come to me? Whose memory is this? If it's the girl who is sharing it with me, and what purpose is it for? In questions, I slowly walked through the azure shadow in the darkness. This is red, the violet is blue. Hey, she was Celia when she attacked us. She actually would say that. Rose is red, is blue. That's what she said. Mary is sweet and so are you. Rosemary maybe? I'm not sure. Is red and Mary is blue. Wait, Rosemary is blue. We were deceived and so are you. She never turned around to face me, only singing this familiar nursery rhyme again and again in a weeping voice. All right. Decision on the body could only have been made by someone much shorter. Can't let her know this, it's too cruel for a child. We are in an empty utility room in the underground lab of the mansion, which is now a bit crowded due to the 3 corpses lying side by side. We check Mr. Joyce's body. I have, it's indeed him, and I've checked all vital signs. He's dead for real. How did you already suspect Sora before you visited her today? Just a simple guess based on the position of the scarlet word on the wall. It was almost level with Raven's head, who died sitting on the ground leaning against the wall. Sora. Wasn't she bound already? I mean, cuffed? Well, not cuffed, I think. Roped or something? I'm not sure. That's what the description felt like. Against the wall. Adult of normal height would need to bend over or squat down to write the word, which would not be a comfortable posture for writing, but the word was obviously written smoothly, which means the writer of the word was likely to be the same height as a child. There happened to be a child on the scene. It's common sense, not a law, so it cannot be used as evidence in legal procedure. You're witty as ever. So the process of your reasoning followed facts. Okay, I agree. Your deduction this time is just implausible. Do you really think that the perpetrator is a phantom? I'm not sure. Those who doubt always try to fit their own guesses into facts, but I deduce from facts and I see if my deductions fit. Well, that's a pretty clever aspect. Many people try to fit their guesses. Alright, let me see. I have deduced from the facts known to us. So I thought I bent over and sniffed Grey Serpent's body. I was right after all. I think we can skip the reasoning and directly identify the murderer. But I need you to help me with something first. Air is filled with a delicate fluorescent. This is the source of the scent. Standing in the yard in front of the mansion, sniffing at the fragrance of rosemary. A man is carefully pruning next to me. Learn some basic botany for professional reasons. Stems are lignified quickly. Too much pruning may harm the growth of the new foliage, so it's best not to trim off more than half of a stem's overall length at one time. Textbook pruning. These plants must have been well tended in the past 5 years. Endless erudition. I heard the complacency in your tone. Seem to have a distaste for me. Hope you can do your job properly. I don't want to see Bronya worried and scared. It's your duty to find the murderer and put an end to these horrors. Approach Joachim, clutched his wrist and whispered to him. You know who the murderer is from the beginning, don't you? We're talking about, but now I know Dr. Einstein shouldn't have trusted you with this case. He was steady and his pulse did not quicken, so I decided to drop another bomb. She's here, isn't she? The second bomb was obviously caused damage. Joachim's body quivered. His hands seemed to have been frozen on the rosemary stems. Can tell that he is trying hard to calm himself. Understand, but you're making me uncomfortable. It's alright, all the puzzles will clear up soon. And took a look at my watch. It's about time, come with me. Let's settle this matter once and for all. Stepped into the hall, everyone was present except Hua and the bedridden Sora. I've gathered everyone here as you requested. Scanned around, passing through everyone's face before I cleared myself. True, you found the murderer? Expert Snoop. Dr. Tesla, how about you call me something else? Version is Grey Serpent killed Mr. Joyce, but he was not responsible for the other 3 murders. Assume it is someone among us then, Doctor. But we'll get to that part later. First, let's look at how Mr. Welt Joyce was murdered. After all, this is the very reason I'm here now. Went over what I was going to say in my head. Went all blah blah blah. Okay, what's going? Okay. All started 5 years ago, if not any earlier. Had two lineal descendants. One is Joey, the other one went missing years ago. Just call the other one Sigma 2. 5 years ago, the catastrophic event hit Saint Fontaine and Lab 42 came for relief. This was just an appearance. When Mr. Joyce truly wished to find out was the tests that caused the disaster and Sigma 2. Was the tests that caused the disaster and Sigma 2. Okay. Every sign leads to the fact that the high-ups of the church had a hand in the tests, but no record was left. Naturally, according to Raven, no one from the church was directly involved. The tests were led by Jackal. Grey Serpent was the material supplier. Raven handled the delivery of materials. What a team they made. Materials. I think you know Jackal better than me. It wasn't the first time for her to meddle with human subjects. She took in a lot of human subjects. How could she get away with unwanted attention? If you've noticed Dr. Tesla, back then in Saint Fontaine there was a place to take in orphans legitimately. In their silence the whole hall, everyone held their breath and looked to the same person. Joachim pursed his lips and slowly closed his eyes. It is indeed a mistake. I asked Raven about Mr. Joachim's role in the tests. She told me he was kept in the dark all along, right until the city was turned into ruins. Can we take her words for it? I believe yes, Raven confessed after she saw Mr. Joyce's notes, which pointed out Mr. Joyce was onto Grey Serpent. The tests on human subjects led to Saint Fontaine's fall. Once revealed, the truth will crucify everyone involved. Acted first and killed Veld. This explains Grey Serpent's motive. After Jackal's death and Sora's kidnap, Raven became sure Grey Serpent meant to silence everyone involved. She made the confession knowing she'd probably die in Grey Serpent's hands, but I don't think she had any reason to lie. Was there too, and I believe she was telling the truth. The tests that caused the catastrophe and Grey Serpent's motive, I got this part. But Joachim, you knew what Veld was. You knew what Veld was after all these years. Why did you keep your mouth shut? That is your plan. I believe Mr. Joachim will give us a convincing explanation himself. Before that, let's return to the case itself. The killer of Jackal, Grey Serpent, and Raven is still among us. Killed Veld, Jackal, and kidnapped Sora. Raven then killed him to save Sora at the cost of her life. That explains everything, right? It's a fine story, but I believe you left out something important. The blood writing. What I'm about to say might sound far-fetched, so I'd like to begin with the two murders after Mr. Jace. In normal circumstances, Dr. Tesla's explanation makes perfect sense, if not for the blood writings. Rache means revenge in German. If it was Grey Serpent, he apparently didn't kill for revenge. On the other hand, if the writing was merely a distraction, then why didn't we see it near Mr. Joyce's body? Dr. Tesla and Einstein said when they found Mr. Joyce, Grey Serpent was also there with a knife on his back. When they got Mr. Joyce to the emergency room and returned, Grey Serpent was gone. Examined Grey Serpent's body first hand, trying to get an answer. The back wound went to the heart, a fatal blow, and the wound had rotten so much that it's safe to say he died exactly around the time of Mr. Joyce's death. Which means a corpse rose from the dead and killed Jackal and Raven before it was finally put to rest. That indeed defies everything logical. To begin with, it's hard to imagine all three directly involved in the tests to show up in Saint Fontaine together. The killings were for revenge, and the three victims shared one thing in common: the Forsaken tests 5 years ago. So of all the people here today, who has the best reason to see these three dead? I must say the conclusion is based on the unfounded presumption of guilt. that doesn't mean we're guilty. And I'd like to remind you both of us were by your side when the two murders took place. Motive doesn't make you murderer, but there are too many things about you that make no sense. You knew exactly what happened 5 years ago, but you never said anything to Mr. Joyce after joining Lab 42. You knew Jackal was responsible for the tragedy, but you still made her Bronya's governess nonetheless. You knew more tragedies would follow if they got their hands on Mr. Joyce's legacy, but you still invited them here. Yes, of course, none of them would walk out of the manor alive in your plan. Everyone here, including yourself, is all relevant. As long as this stands, everything you said is just wild fantasy. It would eventually come to this. Action speaks louder than words. That's how I'm going to prove my theory. How's the preparation going on your side? I'm ready, Doctor. Alright. Turn to face the group with the grim look. I'm going to burn every rosemary in the yard. I found surprise on Dr. Tesla and Bronya's faces, but before they could speak and spoke, someone's breakdown came faster. Einstein has given her consent. Dr. Tesla told me the church was burned down 5 years ago, but the rosemary survived. It might take quite some time, but fortunately we prepared enough for it. It's time for us to find out whether rosemary truly stands for eternity or not. Just bloody stop it. The hysterical scream came from a man of maturity and refinement. He soon regained calm in everyone's shocked gaze. Okay, so he is the killer, alright. Temporarily restrain your freedom, Mr. Joachim. Before I finished my words, Hua had come out of hiding and slowly approached Joachim. It's a trap. A bitter smile floated up Joachim's face. To everyone's surprise, someone small stepped forward in front of him. Oh, okay. Darth Bronya, wait, he actually fought like Nuclear. He's one of the first bosses actually, right? Back from the back. In church I met Celine, Joey, my beloved little sister and brother. Wait, Joey, her brother? Didn't know Bronya had a brother. Celia I knew about. For the first time in my life I felt there was something worth cherishing in the world. I've been making modifications to all the orphans in the name of treatment. And so I started my own investigation. I thought I had been done secretly, but they were still alerted. Even at Grey Serpent somehow knew my plan to confront Sensei, so they pushed me down the stairs. When I woke up again, I had already been sent to one of the Institute's hospitals. I had so many times to leave, I wanted to return to Saint Fontaine to take Celia and Joey away. At that time, I hadn't recovered from my leg injury, so all my escapes failed. One day, I read in the newspaper that the cataclysm occurred and Saint Fontaine had become a dead city. Over the years, I've done many investigations with all the resources I could possibly access. I even used my bequeathment to lure my enemies. Wait, what's a bequeathment? Don't remember that.
Bequeath.
Bequeath. I think I pronounced it correct. Okay, so it's a testimony, or whatever that's called. pseudo-Herrscher. This was the name of the experiment. It was to create powerful pseudo-Herrschers by modifying the copies of the first Herrscher, Belt Joyce. We did those human experiments on orphans purely out of their sick craving for power. Interesting. In the end, the project failed, Saint Fontaine was ruined, and my little brother became a nameless monster to kill our sister. Sigma 2. They all deserve to die. So I used Grey Serpent to kill Jackal so that I didn't have to get her evil blood on my hands. Grey Serpent was the next. His first death was an accident, but I didn't want to let him off easy. Raven once mentioned she was also an orphan taken in by Grey Serpents. It was him who trained her to be a mercenary, so I controlled Grey Serpent to take Sora to have him killed again by his own pupil. So Raven, she was ridiculously naive as a merciless mercenary. For everything she had done, she started to adopt orphans all of a sudden. Couldn't stop laughing when I first heard about that. Trying to go straight and make amends. No way, bad people only deserve to die alone in the shadows. Well, that's kind of correct. So you control Sora to kill her. You're indeed incisive. The bitterness of being killed by someone she had cared and protected. She must face it, just like my sister did. So the merciless avenger who had been hiding in the dark was working, but I didn't know you had been holding such violent treatment. Anyway, this should be the end of your revenge. Schicksal Institute, I know this behemoth is behind all this. Oh, she wants to go after Schicksal. At first I realized Schicksal was behind the project. I swore I'd one day erase its entire existence. Oh well, you wouldn't be the only one. My usual calmness has been overwhelmed by Bronia's deep resentment. Our obsession with revenge is too intense to be eased by a sense of justice. And stop now. Bronia gave a cruel smile. She reached out her hand and gently stroked Joachim's cheek. Wait. Joachim? Dear big sister, wait, what? Oh, but I somehow see a trace of craziness on it. They have all the means and all the artists to make these good animations on the characters, but they can't do a roar sound. And now that's a bit disappointing. Hideous monster emerged out of thin air. Monster's name, but only Dr. Tesla came back to senses on the shock and said it out loud. Okay. Ooh, there's still a bit of it. Alright. Jeffrey that Bronia just mentioned is not the timid little boy who follows around Dr. Einstein. Him is Sigma 2, then what is that phantom? Should we do now? We have no devices or techniques to track down that phantom. Don't worry about it. It's Bronia and Joachim that we should track, not the phantom. Before we assembled here, I borrowed a tracking device from Dr. Tesla and managed to stick it on Joachim's coat. Is it when you were in the yard? You knew back then that the phantom would come? Of course not. I'm not a psychic. I was just taking precautions to prevent them from running away. The problem is we don't have any weapons or measures that would hurt the phantom. If we could track down Bronia and Joachim with the phantom around, we wouldn't be able to bring them back. Need to worry about that. Oh well, obviously the hot-headed one has a point. In analyzing the data we've collected from the phantom after our encounter with it, the analysis went well, and I made this device based on the results. It can interfere with quantum states. I think it will effectively hurt the phantom if we activate it in battle. Okay, then let's head off. Okay, finally this was a quick one, quick chapter, or little story, textlet. Alright, let's see. Alright, only one character. What's further in
デー
store
トで
for
も
me?
しましょうか。
Ah, that's your voice. Just a need to avoid two people and a monster in one. Conan Doyle is every bit as good as his name, and we were caught off guard by his cheap shot. Wonder how he came to know about the Rosemary City. Maybe not on his own, but with some help from sales. And if he is dead, then whatever is in the towers is not her. The voice should come to me long ago. Should we do now? And lay low before the time is right for our next move. We've all paid with their blood, the only thing left for us to do is leave. We still have unsettled business here. I thought that the Teslas while driving would actually do some good one day. Come with us, please. No way you could locate the Phantom. And only thought of something and began to search herself. Failing to find what she looked for, she tugged Joachim over and finally found the red dot on the inside of his sleeve. And the Phantom could not just vanish into thin air with the two like the last time. Just seemed we were unable to develop any countermeasure. Checkmate. Ooh! Ouch. Come on, really now you don't have the possibilities to do a roar or something. The Phantom finally fell down under our overwhelming attacks. Full composition is very unstable, it might still come back to life if we don't annihilate it now. Yeah, obviously Rita, I believe, straightforward one. Here's sort of a detail of the detail Hua told me. It was when they first met the Phantom. Kim was shielding Bronya with himself, the Phantom suddenly stopped its attack and disappeared. So that when Bronya cried out Sensei, she was actually calling this hideous monster rather than Yakin. In the last second, to my surprise, Irene unhurriedly held her sides, as if it was what she had expected. It's unbelievable. I thought the serial murder, the Grey Serpent's undead corpse, were already uncanny, but there's actually something even more unexpected. I believe this Phantom is the real Joachim, the sensei and father of the orphans before the childhood. Alright.
Date でもしましょうか。
Joachim. Sensei 5 years ago. Remember Miss Bronya once mentioned that the failed experiment turned me into a mindless monster 5 years ago. I don't remember anything about that experience. I saw that horrible memory stored in this point. Sally, my big sister, was killed by me. Then how did you get into this world? Come to think of it, it seems more like a soul swap perhaps. And no, I really don't. His body gave me all of Sensei's memories, experiences, and knowledge except for the memory of the soul swap. All I could remember about it was a promise that Sensei made to Celia before she died. Promise? He promised to let me die as a human even if it means he may have to exchange his soul with the devil. Shouldn't say this as a scientist, but this paranormal phenomenon seems to only make sense when devils are involved. We've answered your question, so please answer our question next week. I'd like to know, how did you find out about the secret of Rosemary? You overestimated me, Mrs. Bromley. Your sister hadn't left me those hints. I never had thought floral scents could be used as a medium of possession. In the mansion I played some tricks to make the murderer confess, which I sparkled off a series of unexpected events. Haven't explained to you about the kind of magic they use to control Grey Serpent's dead body and make the murders happen. Am I still in the real world? They might be the same thing as him. What does that mean? Alright. I once said that there was something paradoxical about the serial murder, the word rache, written with blood. So that in many cases the murderers intentionally left messages to display their will. But in this case the word actually made the Grey Serpent murdered all the insiders of the experiment to cover for himself story less credible. So it occurred to me maybe the one who wrote the word was trying to reveal the real motive of the murder. And next bore out my assumption. When I was visiting Sora, I fell into a dream in which I became a strange little girl. Through her eyes I saw what happened in a certain lab before the cataclysm happened. In the end of the dream I heard the girl humming a certain poem. The rose is red, the violet is blue, Mary is sweet, and so are you. The rose is red and Mary is blue. We were deceived and so are you. This is the same poem left on Mr. Joyce's desk at his death scene. I was finally sure that the girl in my dream was real and she had been trying to send messages to us. And obviously Mr. Joyce had also met this girl before. He mentioned about her in his notes that I found in his room. So it occurred to me maybe this girl was trying to harass me. In fact, when I was in the dream, Irene, Einstein, and Sora all saw that I walked to the window, opened it, and started to mutter to myself. If that behavior was also a hint, then the girl must have some sort of ability to control people's bodies in dreams. Crazy as it may sound, it could explain all the illogical aspects of this case. Dr. Einstein, I remember you told me that you heard Mr. Joyce talking to someone on the phone before he was killed. It was only for his voice as the conversation proceeded. What if Mr. Joyce was in a state similar to the one I was in? He could be talking to the air just like I did. Remember Miss Bernia mentioned in her confession that Mr. Joyce's death was an accident. So I think it was because of Mr. Joyce's unconsciousness that Grey Serpent easily murdered him. And then the girl controlled Mr. Joyce's body to give Grey Serpent an unexpected stab in the back and control Grey Serpent's body to leave the scene. An ordinary detective would have been trapped in a common sense, but you managed to break free and even devised a method of trickery to verify your wild hypothesis. Well, at that time, I believed making the Jews think I was going to burn down the flowers was the easiest way to reveal the uncanny truth. What you just explained doesn't have anything to do with Rosemary. It was actually also a hint from the dream. I told you she controlled me to open the window. So after I woke up from the dream, I looked out of the window and saw nothing but a yard full of rosemary. Which reminded me of the first time I fell into a dream a while ago. Because when I was examining Jackal's court, smelled a pleasant floral scent coming from Yakin, who was standing next to me. And I suddenly realized that I knew that scent. I had smelled it several times. In Mr. Joyce's room, on Grey Serpent's rotting body, and on Sora, whom I visited after Raven's death. See, that's how you knew Raven was killed by the possessed Sora. Not just that, the angle of the incision in Raven's throat also suggested the murderer was much shorter than her. And the height of the Scarlet Ward also agreed with this conjecture. On top of all this, I found this familiar face in the role of the Cataclysm victims that I borrowed from Dr. Einstein. The girl who made me see what happened in the lab 5 years ago Must be someone from the orphanage. And I found her. Her name was Sele Folerai, who was Bronya Zajcik's little sister and best friend in the orphanage. Wait, I forgot what meant Folerai. What Folerai meant or something like that. Wait, what? What a thing? Alright, let me get back to this. Thank you for elaborating, but I don't think the girl hiding in Rosemary's scent is my little sister Sally. If it really was her, then why did she reveal my plan to you while assisting me with my revenge? So you still haven't understood. It's certainly because she loves her sister and little brother too. So she's been helping them while still hoping someone would find out and rescue them from the gory path of revenge. Maybe you're right. She raised the rosemary and gently kissed the delicate petals. Feels like a night breeze as the rosemary in Bronya's hand dissolved into red and black hues. For a moment, I seemed to see a red figure soundlessly emerge behind Bronya. Alright, she embraced Bronya's slender neck, then their figures overlapped. What's the name of this one? Not really honest. What does say? Hey, that's the whole thing. Still the raging fury that used to control her faded gradually and vanished at last. And in her hand, which was supposed to bloom eternally, had withered and become hideous sear remains. Wait, what's sear? What does sear mean? Sear. Bushel vegetation. Ah, withered. Okay, so that's another synonym for wither. Okay, let me see. What did Folerai actually mean? Ah, gluttony. Genitive. Gluttony. Alright. Okay. As many... okay. Wait, I forgot. Refute. Prove to be wrong. Okay, to disprove. Bring me then my anger until we are both hurt and exhausted. This is what awaits at the end of the path of revenge. Hey, finally I see a much greater animation. Wait, does she actually see Sele? I mean, wait, is Sele really dead then? Just a figment, a phantom, and a handy tool for her revenge. Because the phantom never smiled or spoke to her, or kept her warm when the cold came, like Sele used to. Alright, so just realize Sele has always been with her, okay. Okay. Well, it looks like her, but I'm not sure though. Not Celia, because only Celia would shed sorrowful tears for her. Wait, did I even speak? Been looking after the Rosemary in our memories. Though Celia cannot talk to us, she has always been with us. So that's why he was keeping the Rosemary. He was actually keeping the memories close. That should make sense. I think also it's a well disguised thing because the action and everything that happens is either partly boring or you take part in the so-called fights, and you kind of underestimate the fact that, you know, the rosemary actually is a flower of memory, of remembrance, and they're actually, you know, they're like a field, you know, keeping something which is dead. Basically, memories are all dead because they happened, their time was, and it keeps them somewhat fresh. Because only your mind and your heart can keep something fresh even if it withered long ago, right? So it's a keeping field, a web of time, can I say? I'll call it a web of time though. Time since she indulged herself in the overwhelming desire for vengeance, she felt real emotions. Then she saw an unreal image. In bright white light, a gentle, cultivated man and a girl in blue are living hand in hand. Oh, this is just like in movies, you know, when the dead simply depart and they, how to put it, they left the living in their own world, and, you know, that's, I'm guessing that's what it is. Wild. I knew I saw a mistake. When she came back to her senses, she found the sear flower remains in her hand, gone with the wind. That monstrous phantom was also gone. Started to wail miserably. Case closed. The only thing left to do is deal with the two culprits, which is not a detective's job. I think we should let Mr. Joyce decide. Expect another twist in the end. How fascinating. Making no sense. Reed, I have no idea what you're talking about. No need to cover for me now that I'm already exposed. Left from the corner of the street. Obviously he saw everything that just happened. Now looks too solemn as a shell, but I can see he's trying to give a friendly smile. You have indeed hidden well, but there have been a few subtle hints. First one was the paradoxical aura exuded when you gave testimony at Jackal's death scene. You weren't like a timid boy at all. I not your detective stories and have always wanted to say lines like that, so I got carried away. But what really makes me realize that you're still alive is something more solid than an intuitive feeling. The change in Dr. Einstein's attitude. The investigation once came to a dead end before Raven told us about the experiment which provided a turnaround. And the reason why she told us was because she found the notes about the experiment and Grey Serpent in your room. Check your bookshelf on my first search in your room. The notes weren't there at that time. And under that circumstance, the way Dr. Einstein infuriated Raven just felt too intentional. I knew I wasn't good at acting, okay. Yeah, Einstein sucks at acting. She's just straightforward and plain. Similar to Tesla, but they're kind of opposite in a certain sense. They're both level-headed, but Einstein is fiery. Not Einstein. Tesla is fiery, also given by her fiery color of the hair. And, you know, Einstein is a lot more reserved, given by the blue color of her hair, which is also the symbol of her voice, and the bluish eyes also speak of introspection. The voice is very important to Einstein, and also blue is a representative of our minds. Remember clearly that when we first arrived, Dr. Einstein was loath to talk about the phantom and the cataclysm. Yet she provided me those key clues that could push the investigation forward via such a poor act. Such a dramatic change in her attitude could only be a result of someone's instruction. And I can't think of anyone else in this manner that could order Dr. Einstein except for the deceased Mr. Joyce. And what was your situation? I wouldn't believe it if you told me you turned into a little boy for fun. Not the case, but I really don't know why it happened. You've already deducted the details of the murder. In fact, I don't remember anything about it. When I woke up again, I was already in this body. Plus, now that you are occupying this body, where is the original soul of this Sigma Sig? It doesn't exist. I'm so sorry, Doctor. I had Einstein lie to you. There were indeed 2 of my copies, but there is only one Sigma 2, which is the Geoffrey Joachim's body. And this body never woke up since it was made. Though its vital signs have been normal, the lack of a soul still makes it defective. Ah, alright. I'm glad to see you're still alive, Mr. Joyce. I'm glad to meet you too, Doctor. Conan Doyle. Oh, actually say the entire name. Wells then cast a glance at Bronya and Geoffrey and showed a trace of sadness. Mr. Joyce, you are my clients. Now that the perpetrators have been identified, the rest is up to you to decide. To hear your suggestions, Doctor. For a moment, then said in a measured tone. There were a few cases that made me realize sometimes catching the culprits brings more pain than the very crimes. And now I've learned to be more prudent. If I have to choose, I'd rather deceive the rules than my conscience. Well, obviously it's easier to deceive rules. After all, rules are something made up by the masses, but not only made up, but also agreed upon. And the rules can be made by someone or a few, but they always have to be agreed upon by the masses, right? Even if it is through ignorance, because ignorance means giving your consent without fighting, right? It means acquiescing, right? You give your consent without fighting. And now, the point is, you can't easily deceive your conscience if you're in ignorance, you don't care about your conscience, so it's easy to deceive it. Other than that, well, the point is very simple. You can't deceive your conscience when you're conscious, right? Because that kind of hurts. I think so too. Sometimes one tragedy might lead to another, and this chain reaction may go on forever. We eventually push everything and everyone into a hopeless abyss. The 2 of them already bear too much pain. Glad to see we are in agreement on this matter. My dear Hua, it's time for our return trip. The train station hasn't been blown up. Her reticence on occasions like this has been quite comforting for me. Welt also expressed his gratitude to Irene. I failed to figure out the relationship between them after all. Come on, they didn't even do an animation for the rain. It's just like, disappointing. You'd expect more from a big company. Like me, Horny. Okay, fragment one, I'm gonna... I'm getting a bit sleepy. Alright, so we get to glance at Rita once again. Wait, what was the name of this one? Fallen Rosemary. Let me take a picture of this as well. Alright. Well, Joyce announced that the members of Lab 42 had seceded from Schicksal and allied with the North America branch of Schicksal to form a new anti-Honkai organization named Anti-Entropy. Okay. So it's still... So Anti-Entropy is a branch... Okay, it's a former Schicksal part. Oh well, you learn something every day, I guess. Spectral Joyce would have made such a huge move after that incident, but you seem to be indifferent to this shocking news. Used to going where the wind blows. I prefer dealing with little cases rather than huge organizations and systems. Anyway, a rival organization to Schicksal sounds like the right place for Bronya and Geoffrey. Heard you just returned from a long journey. Did Hua tell you this? Yes, I went to East region to take care of Raven's entrustment to me. Those orphans she adopted have been taken in by anti-entropy. I believe Mr. Joyce will take good care of them. Anyway, though this case was solved, I still don't have a clue how the possession by a floral scent and soul exchanges happened. Didn't know you'd be so obsessed with the paranormal. Before the phantom vanished, I thought I saw a mirage for a moment. Saw Joachim and Cele living in white light. He looked back and waved his hand as if he was thanking someone. Sounds more like he was just waving goodbye. This is getting a bit out of hand. This is Western philosophy. Ghosts don't tell you goodbye, they don't have any sense or memory, but let's live in the realm of fantasy and not break this with too much cerebrality. I can be cerebral and mystical at the same time, although pendulating in between which is a bit more interesting. For a moment you seemed to be giving them a wave, though you weren't facing them. Are you sure? Of course. The serial murder happened in Saint Fontaine might be the most uncanny case that I could have ever experienced in my life. And the uncanny part is, the Grey Serpent we saw wasn't really Grey Serpent, the Phantom wasn't a Phantom, Joachim wasn't Joachim, and even Geoffrey wasn't really himself. Oh, I do love this pose. Yeah, that's true. She's actually true. No one was basically themselves. And is it possible that Irene Adler wasn't really Irene Adler and Conan Doyle wasn't a real Conan Doyle? Alright, that's something. Time is not important, the real question is, who are you? You have the answers, but something seems to be clenching your throat and preventing you from voicing them out. All and incidents in your mind are real memories, but it felt as if you were browsing through an old album, inside an isolated chamber. The next moment, endless darkness. Him find himself. It's only a matter of time for him to look up dark. Too many times of consciousness mapping have added too many foreign perceptions and combinations into his mind. This continues sooner or later. Like, this is a different color, so it's pinpoints a different character. That, and he knows that too, but that's his choice. I knew there was something fishy about her as well, because it's basically Rita. She's technically, how do you call this character, the femme fatale? So basically there's always something eerie about this phenomenon. I'm not sure if she's basically a femme fatale, because this archetype always stems from a highly, extremely wounded personality. Kind of always a woman, because that's why it's called femme. But alright, we'll live more to see, I guess, but that's his choice. We shall live and we shall see. Find it suspicious that you actually managed to infiltrate Hyperion and seem to know everything about this guy. You're not like me or anyone else on the ship, I can feel it. To be more precise, you're more like him. Who are you? If I recall correctly, Miss Kong Ming. We made a deal a long time ago. Take him back and you let me have my own little secret. Furtive woman. Wait, what did furtive actually mean? Meaning of furtive. Attempting to avoid notice or attention, typically because of guilt or a belief that discovery would lead to trouble. Okay, so it's secretive. Okay, so now we are back on the Hyperion with Kong Min. That's basically a skin for Teresa. Told you that my name is, and I said Rita Rose. Okay. I may not be the same Rita you used to know, I wouldn't refuse if you ever feel like snuggling up to me. Wait, snuggle. Snuggle. Does this mean cuddling or settle or move into a warm, comfortable position? Kind of, yeah. Turn a blind eye to you for now as a thank you for saving him. Sounds fair. But if I ever find out about whatever you might be scheming to do on Hyperion, you can punish me however you like. His bedroom is yours now. If he wakes up, tell him to meet me on the bridge when he feels better. I have a lot to say to him. Seem to be bent out of shape. Well, if it isn't femme fatale Rita, obviously. Everyone's little money. Okay. Please let me escape from reality for a while. You don't seem to be surprised seeing me here. Consciousness mapping. Wait. This sounds a bit interesting. Consciousness mapping. Methodology for mapping the structure and organization of subjective experience via the retrospective completion of a self. Alright. It's kind of a complicated thing, so I'm not gonna read it on stream. She has such an adorable face. She looks a bit more human in here. I do like Rita and how she looks. She's one of my favorite characters alongside Fuhua, but I really don't like Rita's booba. Like, literally, they're so exaggerated in the game. You may want to stop using it. Synchronizes your consciousness and memories with the objects, which generates an unbearably massive info load. Yeah, I think I kind of did this as well. And there is a problem when you use this, because when you absorb information on objects, information that is left around by previous users, even if they were dead, the point is when you absorb too much information, the imagination part of your memory can create unconscious things, and the only power of the mind is whatever it shows you, it is shown in such a way that you can't take anyhow other than real. That is the power of the mind, and that's why people suffer in this world. They get too attached to their minds, to their emotions, to basically like everything, and they believe that that's the only reality, right? And the point is, when you try to become too subjective with too many experiences at once, the point is you download those experiences, but at the same time your imagination still can run wild. And when you call back to the mind itself, right, the brain itself, all the unconscious things that your imagination has created in the meantime without you knowing suddenly pop up, and you might believe them that they are ideas, and some of them, or at least one or two, you will take as pure reality. That's how the mind fools you around. There have been real life cases about this, and indeed there have been cases like this with people experiencing a murder or something, and then when they were put on trial to, as witnesses, it was proven that their imagination actually played tricks upon them, and what they imagined to have seen as the, for example, killer's face was proven later that it couldn't have been, because the lighting of the streets didn't change, and they couldn't have seen the face of the killer in the car when they drove by and shot them, and all sorts of details in the mind can actually change, which is very interesting. I'm pretty impressed that I actually hit this thing in a single aspect. And the increasing amount of cognition residues left in your mind will impair your self-awareness. Yeah, obviously, that's what I was saying. Cognition residues, things you have thought about. Basically, cognition Residues are more like attachments, because you think about something, you like it, that's basically a residue. Because if you think about something and you don't place any attachment to it, it is just a past event. And even if the mind discards it, there is basically no attachment. So the karmic imprint, or that, basically that residue, or the karmic imprint, whatever you want to call it, simply can dissipate freely. But you have an attachment, it will keep it in a solid state. So that's how your memories simply don't leave you, right? And this is how people suffer, 10 years after, right? Something has happened and it still affects them. I just had a nostalgic dream when my mind was still hazy. I'm gonna go meet her on the bridge. So he did not recognize me at all. Classic Captain, he is always perspicacious and perceptive about anything except for his own business. If I put this dress... Wait, but if I put on this dress for him, I think he would recognize me, Loki. Loki? Is this the god of this? Oh wait, this is basically a Nordic attire. I think it resembles Odin. Not Odin, I think one of Rita's battles it actually says Odin. And Rita is also deceiving in a way, because, well, deceit is a very powerful weapon. People say knowledge is the greatest power, but deceit is also a great weapon, because when you confuse people, see, the mind is always confused, it's always going to be confused. And when you confuse people even more, you negate them access to clear information. Clear information is power, so you, well, basically deny them power. Hey, it does. It does light. Oh, alright. Wait, I never saw this outfit on Rita before. Hey, she actually has... I knew she had... I saw she had a few actions or gestures, or how should I call them? I'm not sure. Such an intriguing character Rita is. Finally an event for her. I really feel good. Wait, progress. Wait, what? Is it because I skipped certain things? Wait. Vacant? Wait, I didn't? Ah, this one. There is like a red string intertwined with the uneventful entanglements and relations, and what I need to do is sort it out from defects and expose it. Okay. Wait, back at the repairs part, okay. She seemed more determined to prioritize fixing the security system. Wait, I can simply skip this. I mean, kind of know how the story goes. Wait again. Okay, can I actually skip? Okay. Wait. Oh, alright. Wait, a part of the sound seems familiar to me. Wait, look for Sora in the room. And there's also Raven. XO. I think that would be. Raven kept hammering the wall, venting out her anger and frustration. It's Raven. I walked to her and hesitated for a moment before calling her attention. As if startled by my presence, she suddenly turned around and grabbed me by the collar. Nothing here in this damn house if it weren't for you. I told you clearly that it was merely a possibility, and you chose to stay because you believed in this possibility. It's not how you feel, but blind rage gets you nowhere. Alright, okay. A frustrated Raven, I understand. Wait. Did I actually move around there? Obviously. And the slow, painful move speed is kind of... Damn you, scientist. Ballistic. Okay. One had already got to her. Attack. Bang. Come on, really now, you're making a visual novel, you're having such neat animations for your characters and you simply can't put a dumb simple sound. Like, for fuck's sake, you could go to all sorts of little artists who do sounds. You could even use Soundly. Like, there are databases of sounds that you could use for free to add in your game. Like, that could be so immersive, but nah. I mean, if you take all the effort to do 99, well hidden things that are perceivable by probably 5% of the players because they're more attentive than most, well, you could obviously go, balls deep like I do and put all the little details instead of, missing one on purpose. It's one of the very few people I could see eye to eye with. Neatly stapled together. The color of the papers varied from top to bottom. The top looked yellowish from aging. She bent down to pick them up. I thought I saw a brief moment of hesitation on Dr. Einstein's face. Oh, what a doctor, you have to see this. A lead coming from nowhere. I chewed on her words as she handed them to me. I knew that what she meant, but I decided to play along for now. Okay, by Welt Joyce. Didn't even need to finish reading the title to know how important the notes were. Apparently they were written casually, in first person, and not intended for publishing. My eyes skimmed through the keywords quickly. The situation can hardly get any worse. I don't know who I can trust. Maybe Tesla and Einstein only. At the beginning, I only wanted to know the whereabouts of the two kids. The forbidden experiments have borne fruit and someone has to answer for it. I found one of them. Her psychological readings are physiological readings are stable, but I have to end all of this. It started with me and has to end with me. This is destined to happen. Alright, I can simply skip through this. Like, the case is solved and wait, leave the room. Oh, I'm guessing this is the most difficult objective. What a D, Miss Adler behind me. Out of this alive, simply ignore what I just told you. You're a detective and with a fat check, anyone can be your client. Happen to have enough savings to interest you. I'm not sure if I'll die here, just planning for the worst. Still doubt if it was Great Serpent that killed Jackal and took Sora. He doesn't have a motive. Now Welt Joyce's notes are true because I was there and I played a part in the experiment. Job was to deliver them in one piece. The tests on human subjects were run by Jack, right? Alright. I know more details and such, but... Alright, where the fuckers at? I don't think I've heard that laughter before. Again, I don't play this. Perhaps I can actually try the ultimate sooner or later and finish this script. Could be another wave afterwards. Yes, it was so chaotic beating 3 Honkai beasts, like, oh my gosh. I had to press a single button, my gosh. It's equally chaotic to Dead by Daylight. Like you're running around the wall and making fun of the killer. Okay. Okay, so I'm guessing everything was collected. Daily investigations. Green stuff, that's quite needed, I'd say. Wait, main enemies. Eh? I can use my own characters, or... Wait, I don't think I have her at level... Did I level her to S? Wait, I can use any of my characters. Okay, let me see. Psychic, Psychic, and Psychic. So basically Bio is what counters them. Ah, these two go well together. Something more Bio. Well, you can never have enough Fupas though. Oh my gosh, 3 seconds. Wait, I forget. Alright. I always forget my computer needs 5 seconds to render the booba of this character. Wait, isn't this the part where you defend the thing there? The second, whatever it was called? Wait, I forgot I need a full basic attack sequence. Get ice! Okay. Okay. That is... Ice Glacier gives me the impression of. What? Oh, the timer! Wait, do they spawn endlessly or what the... Wait, I should get level experience. unlocked at a certain blah blah blah. Better clear them first for powerful skills once they are unlocked. Wait. Clear the stage within 3 minutes. Kill 5 enemies within 10 seconds. Clear the stage within... Wait.
信頼していただきありがとうございます。
時期を見て動きましょう。出発です。出発です。あなたたちへ。
Now you don't have a timer anymore, but apparently I still have to finish it in... They actually have to freaking kill. Wait a bit. That's it?
任務完了。お待たせいたしました。
Alright. So if that's all that I need to do, okay. Wait. See challenges, collect certain number of challenge stars for awesome rewards. Well, it's just like Genshin. The rewards are poo-poo, but at least there's plenty of them. Alright. Okay, so I need characters that can actually DPS somewhat better, since Rita is apparently not the best DPS with the current sets that I have. Could use Hua though. I mean, I can spam pretty much with her. But she wouldn't make a good fit because I'm wasting time with her, you know, charging her ability and then... My gosh, the spawn place of those things is so horrible. See, I told you it's easy tutorial with Hua. Obviously, a P character would deal more damage than Rita. Evidence level 3. How the fuck do I increase that? I need to do these things daily or what? Eh? Possible drops. EX3. Oh well, you know what. This event is cute. I know Rita is hot, I love her, but oh well, you know what. Oh my gosh. The rewards keep dropping. in daily investigation stage 3 times. Ah, oh well.
お散歩にふさわしいお天気ですね。一緒にどうですか、館長。
Ah, such a soothing voice you have. Okay, rewards, let me see. Ah, useless as always. Okay, contributions. Why do I never have those things? Game, can you please? Okay, Honkai cubes I wasn't interested in donating anyways. Basically don't like that. Oh, okay, someone actually gave me a message a while ago. Okay, they want to play DBD. Alright, I'll go play DBD. But first of all, since this is Honkai, obviously you can't go through it without some of the things. Let me see. Yes. Agiat, alright. Yes, obviously I need to do her. No, let me see. First I need to do that which is more unbearable. Challenge. Q manifold. Wait, where on earth was the... Wait, this was done. Isn't there any spiral abuse anymore? Is it only this? Or am I playing this game so rare that this is the only thing that I'm bumping into? Alright, let's... Booba. Time to vomit my lunch. Wait. I can extend the... Last time I did this, I actually managed to cast the ultimate, go through the quick phase, and then she cast the blade part of her ultimate in the next phase, and I almost ended that as well. So incredible how much damage this character can put through her ultimate. Something like that, but already passed in the other... Okay. I like that choral sound. Reminds me a bit of Sacrifice, an old game that I used to play. And I played it as mad, I mean. She doesn't deal much damage, but she deals a lot of it. Ooh. That feels so good. Ouch. Where are you swinging at? Does Arconia deal more damage than Virtue of Balance? I mean... Finally feeling as if I'm quite willing from them. It still feels laughable with. 'Kay, I finished it in the last 4 seconds, okay. I swear I'm not goofing around.
強風に私に服従しなさい。I actually die faster.
good! He wasn't pressing the attack button like Rita. Dude, can the last guy be less annoying and simply die already, like literally? And I lost, obviously. Why the fuck is the last one always refusing to die? Like, what the fuck is this? Perhaps I should remove Hua and add... I don't know how to use this character support character though. Okay, when they're all stacked together, it's obvious I'm gonna do much more damage, but... Obviously it's always not the right frame. Dude, these guys don't seem to want to die, like for fuck's sake, what's going on? I'm looking around too much. Finally, why the heck is there one simple creature that basically is tankier than a boss? Like literally, I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the logic in these people's minds if they don't have one. It was the perfect framing. Oh my god. Can you please teleport more? I don't want to pass this close ultimate, but much more acceptable than Fufa's. It's like he vanished from the screen. Let me see. Oh, more fuckers. Okay. Oh, I actually got it. Combo. The Fufa main, I can say I feel a bit honored given how much this game can dedicate to. I think I actually was attacking someone, but alright. I was expecting that once. I had both the energy and the right timing, but oh well. Guess I need expert equipment to try to play this game. Time to click on their disgusting faces. Let me guess, you're that last tanky character. Okay, so I didn't get any reply from my friend. Woo, that happened so fast. Like. It was the right timing, Mikoyo. Stop being horny over these characters and actually do the combo. Thank you. I've been working with frames all the time. My mind functions in frames. It's not hard for me to do these combos, like literally. I can do this combo all day long, like. Okay. Now that I can actually reach out in-game and reply to it, and it's no longer gonna be a problem sticking on the screen. Still wonder why the chat's still silent, but oh well. Entering the boss room. Ah, Hephaestus. Oh my gosh. Bit later, but it's still registered finally. Okay, time to click on his face. Robots need electricity to function, so we're gonna give him all the electricity he needs. Where am I swinging at though? Really? 100k damage. Yeah, that's good for my standards. Given I'm not level 81. Charge attack today, thank you. Okay, nice. Okay, I had to finish it with a banger. Now obviously Fuhua's pose. And this skin simply doesn't say anything because it's Senti. Basically it's Fuhua having become Senti. And obviously Senti doesn't do anything, she just stays in Fuhua's pose and trolls her. Because what can you expect less from Senti? Okay, challenge. I need to do this stupid thing and farm the same pieces of garbage that I need thousands of, apparently.
準備が完了しました。
Yes.
まだ聞けた。おめさめよ、競争の主よ。
Obviously they separated. Three and okay.
今こそ風を起こす時です。お目覚めよ、競争
Let's get these two puppets one to the other. One shot really. And with that closing it ended. And with this, my FPS also ended. Hua Rita has won it so far. Easy tutorial. I can't do level 5, I think, because I don't have cry damage. I do have Bronya though. Bye. Thank you. I only need one. Let me see what disgusting things do I have to do. Memorial Arena. This one. I'm not gonna bother with this one. Let me see. What was the other thing? Yes, but unfortunately Captain doesn't want to spend their whole life in a single game. Especially since there are other ways of abusing yourself rather than Genshin. Okay, Valkyries. Okay, you little booger. Time to get your pieces. Really? Oh, wait. I actually forgot to put a piece of her. If it ain't a good thing, I did a mistake. Expeditions, okay. Yes. Trying to make use of my friend's characters. Don't know how this character works though. Oh, I remember those quests that said don't get hit 40 times and the boss would dash once and I couldn't dodge it, and it's like, oh, you've been damaged 24 times in a single ability. You must not be damaged more than 40 times. Usually it was 20 or so times, but when you saw 40 times, you knew that something would be spammy with their abilities.
勝利の外貨が響かんこと次の現場に急ぐの
Not sure who does the more damage, but I'm expecting my friend's character.
全ての罪を洗い流してもらいましょう
I don't know how much damage my characters do. And when it comes to co-op, I'm rarely the one who carries, but alright. Alright. Ouch.
勝利の外貨が響かんこと見張り私を
Ah, okay. Dark Saber roll is good luck. That character is gonna carry me irrespective of the situation. Easy. I said it's easy. When your friend's characters deal all the damage, you don't need to worry that much.
運命の影はすでに落ちた私はそれに同調しているだけ
Yeah. Bunik. Yes. I have stamina, don't worry. Okay, let's give him the juice.
勝利の外貨が響かんこと少しさ
That was slow.
雷鳴に全ての罪を洗い流してもらいましょう
In case someone wonders, I got all her things. I got her blade and the stigmatas from the battle pass. I wanted her leveled. It took me 3 battle passes, but I did get them. Wait. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, you. The higher level will be chosen, most likely because they can deal more damage. I don't have any preferences in terms of character. Any character that can help me, well... But obviously this one. Okay, this should end my Let me see, anything important? Obviously not. So I have to do it again. Wait, I did it with no friends. Oh well. I do these things without friends as well. I heard dodging sounds interesting this way. I'm dealing some damage as well. But obviously I have to do it again. That's alright. I will. I have patience.
勝利の外貨が響かんことをリハーサル私を再活の意向は凍りました心と体を私に任せなさい自分の運命と向き合うと決めました
Eesh. Alright, got enough of these. Oh well. I'm guessing that's enough of the events. Enough of the things that I usually do. I think that's enough of Honkai. Fortunately, I haven't met anything to make me instantly fall asleep as Honkai usually does. After playing this game for several months on end, it kind of became stale with the same things again and again, and what the fuck, I've actually streamed this for 3 hours and a half, like, okay, now this is an achievement I ain't done in such a long time. I mean, play it this much, not necessarily stream it for as long. Like, last 2 streams, the game became so boring, I almost fell asleep like 3 times in a row, and it was, I think, a 1 hour stream or something, and yes. But well, thank you for joining, thank you for being close, thank you for not being toxic. I'm gonna switch to a brand new stream, which is gonna be the Dead by Daylight, most likely with a friend, and for most of it, it's gonna be Romanian. So, well, if you want to stick by, thank you. I'm not sure if you'll understand much, but all this being said, you are appreciated, take care, and well, Finn Board signing out. But